So Parliament. There shall be a Parliament for Union which shall consist of President and two houses to be known respectively as the Council of States and the House of People. So now understand Parliament. Parliament means so Parliament is something which sits in Delhi, right? So you have to understand. Parliament consists of three things. One is two houses of Parliament. Okay. So there are two houses. The model which we have adopted for Parliament is completely based on England. Okay. So we have two houses of Parliament. One is the lower house and second is upper house. Right? Lower house is called House of the People. Okay. So lower house is called House of the People, and what we called it as a Lok Sabha. Okay. The Indian name of the House of People is Lok Sabha. And upper house is nothing but Council of States, which we call a Rajya Sabha. Okay. And the third organ of Parliament is obviously President. So Parliament consists of three organs. One is Lok Sabha, second is Rajya Sabha, and third is President. So first of all, let us see something about President. The President shall be elected by the members of an electoral college consisting of A, the elected members of both houses of Parliament, and B, the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the state. Okay? So President का चुनाव होता कैसे? First of all समझ, President का चुनाव directly नहीं. Okay, the President won't be chosen directly. Okay, it will be chosen by way of electoral college. You will see what do you mean by electoral college and all. Okay, so there is an indirect election for president. In India, we people don't go and choose our president immediately or directly. Right? The president is chosen by the people to whom we have chosen. Okay. Now understand. There are elections of Lok Sabha every 5 years. So in Lok Sabha, what we do is we choose some people in the Lok Sabha. Fine, super. Now there is another house in the Parliament which is called Rajya Sabha. This is a Council of States. Okay. So those who are MLAs, members of legislative assemblies, okay, in the respective states, they people go and choose the leader, members of Rajya Sabha among themselves. Okay. So in Rajya Sabha, there is certain seats which are reserved for Maharashtra. So the MLAs of Maharashtra will choose that MPs among themselves. Okay. So MLAs of Maharashtra will choose MPs for Rajya Sabha. Clear? Now there is a state legislature, you know, Vidhan Sabha, right? So we elect the state representatives also, which we call them MLAs. So there are two set of people whom we actually go and elect as a people of India. One are MPs and second are MLAs. So there are direct elections for both these kind of people. And now all these peoples, I mean all the MPs and all the MLAs, they go and choose the president by way of electoral college. I mean that election process is very complicated. Okay, first choice of vote, second choice of vote, third choice of vote, and all. Okay, so election process is quite complicated, which is not there in your syllabus. What is the election process of president? Only the thing is, you have to choose. You have to know that president is chosen by MPs and MLAs. We, the people of India, don't go and choose the president. Clear? Then powers of the president. Article 53 of the Constitution lays down that the executive powers of the Union shall be vested in the President. So, whatever Union government does for the people, they do it on the name of President. Okay, so who is the head? De facto head, I will say. Theoretical head of the government is President. Because the Union executive power is vested to the President. Okay, the President of India shall thus be the head of the executive power of the Union. There are three powers now. One is legislative power, executive power, and judiciary power. In that executive power to implement the law, they will implement the law in the name of president. Right? The executive power may be defined as the power of carrying on the business of government. So how or the administration of affairs of the state, excepting functions which are vested in other authority by the constitution. Right? So there are three wings of democracy. One is legislatures to legislate the law, right? So that rights are given to the parliament, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, MPs, MLAs, right? Then there are executive powers. So in executive power, the de facto power rests with the president. Am I right? De facto power. Okay. So दिखावे के लिए power president के पास. So whatever law is implemented, it is implemented in the name of president. Actually, he or she doesn't go and implement anything. Okay, there are ministers, there are bureaucrats who will go and implement that, but they will implement everything in the name of president. Okay, and judiciaries, they are quite different. They are very independent. Okay, so any Supreme Court will not give judgment in the name of president. Definitely, they will give judgment in their own name itself. Okay. Various powers that are included within the comprehensive expression executive power in modern state have been classified under following heads. Okay, so now they have given what the kind of powers which president get in the name of executive power. So when he get executive power, what are the actual powers he has? First is administrative power. That is the execution of the laws and the administration of the departments of government. First power is administrative, right? Execution of laws. So whenever the parliament has made the law, right? And now it's a time to execute it. So president, and that's the reason for the assent of president is required on that law. He has to sign the bill. Then only that bill will become law. And then law will be implemented in his name or her name. Okay? Then military power, that is the command of the armed forces and the conduct of war. So he is the supreme commander of all the three wings of the military. Air Force, Navy, and Army. Right? So if India wants to start any kind of war, that war will be started on the name of president. Okay? Legislative power, that is the summoning, propagation, etc. of the legislation. Okay? And judicial power, that is granting pardons, reprisals to the persons convicted of crime. Okay? So if someone has given capital punishment, I mean death, 302, okay, then he can apply to the president, mercy petition. He can file the mercy petition to the president, obviously. And president has a right to pardon. Okay. President has an exclusive right to convert his death punishment or death penalty into lifetime imprisonment, if he wishes to. Otherwise, he may say that, okay, you may proceed with the capital punishment. These powers vested in the president under each of these heads, subject to the limitations made under the constitution. Okay. So all these powers actually rest with the president. Please note, he or she will never go and exercise these powers. No. President is only a de facto head. Okay. He is having a head for a namesake. He will not go and do anything out of it. Okay. Only the powers are given to him. He will do everything in the advice of the Council of Ministers, Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. Power to proclamate ordinance. The most important legislative power conferred on the President is proclamate ordinances. Article 123 of the Constitution provides that the President shall have the power to legislate by ordinances at any time when it is not possible to have a parliamentary enactment on the subject immediately. This is a special feature of the Constitution of India. Now, what they are saying is, suppose, see, first understand, Parliament doesn't work 365 days like us. Okay? We, the people who work in offices or companies, we work for 365 days, except Sundays. Okay? But Parliament is not like that. Parliament only works some of the days in the whole year. What we call the sessions. Right? So, whole Parliament will work. And definitely, ministers will work for 365 days. or whole the bureaucracy will work for 365 days. Okay, all the government departments are open for 365 days. But Parliament works collectively only for certain days. Okay, what we call the sessions of Parliament. Okay, so Parliament comes in the session, then all the MPs and MLAs will MPs will sit in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and they will transact the business. So they will legislate the laws. Fine. But what if some emergency happens in between the two sessions? So one session is over, say for example, winter session is over, or budget session is over, okay, and there is a time for a monsoon session. Okay, in between the two sessions, there comes some emergency. Government wants to implement some law with an immediate effect. They cannot wait till next session. Okay, and they cannot call the session immediately, because calling the session itself is a big process. You have to give requisite notice and everything. Okay, so they require some law to pass on an immediate basis. Now, what government can do? Prime Minister will simply go to President. Okay, and what he give to President is ordinance. He will pass some ordinance. Okay, and he will give it to the President, and he will say that please sign the ordinance. Because if you sign the ordinance, this law will implemented in the country with an immediate effect. Okay, this will become law with an immediate effect. Okay, so what President will do? He will sign the ordinance, or that signing the process of ordinance is called proclamation of ordinance. So he will proclaim the ordinance, and that ordinance will become law. But you have to understand one thing here. This is just a temporary machinery, because that law has not been yet passed by the Parliament. It is not tabled. It is not presented before the Parliament. That was not the bill which something Parliament has been presented before the Parliament. Okay, so this is a backdoor way of doing the things. In a backdoor, government can do this. But this is what the Constitution says is, this is a temporary way. So what if President proclaimed the ordinance within a 1 year? Government has to table the bill in the Parliament, and that needs to be passed by the Parliament. That needs to be ratified by the Parliament. Otherwise, that ordinance will become null and void. Understood or not? Correct. The ambit of this ordinance making power of the President is coextensive with the legislative powers of Parliament. That is to say, it may relate to any subject in respect of which Parliament has a right to legislate, and is subject to the same constitutional limitations as legislation by Parliament. Yes. So, with this power, President becomes legislature. President legislates the law with his special authority. Okay, but this ordinance will also have the same limitations as the legislation by Parliament. In short, Parliament cannot go to the President and proclaim any ordinance which is against the basic structures of Constitution. So tomorrow morning, Prime Minister cannot go to the President and he says that I want to proclaim some ordinance which will take away the fundamental right of people. No, that is not allowed. Okay, to that extent, if such a thing happens, to that extent, that ordinance will also become null and void. Very clear. What is this power is? Then Rajya Sabha, Council of States. The Council of States shall consist of 12 members to be nominated by President at not more than 238 representatives of state and union territories. So Rajya Sabha has a total strength of 250 members. Out of that, 238 members are chosen by the MLAs of states and union territories, and 12 members of eminent personalities have been nominated by the President. So President nominates 12 members to the Rajya Sabha. Okay, those who are not chosen, but they are a person with an eminent stature in the India. So he is some person who has done some excellent job in many fields like sports, education, or theatre, arts, or something like that. social work. Okay. The allocation of seats in the Council of States to be filled by representatives of states and the union territories shall be in accordance with the provisions of that behalf contained in the 4th schedule of the Constitution. So, how many seats will be allocated to which state and union territories? The entire list is given under Schedule 4 in the Constitution. Entire list. Okay. The members to be nominated by the President shall consist of persons having special knowledge or practical experience in respect of literature, science, art, and social studies. Okay. So the people who have done a lot of work in this kind of fields, the President can nominate such 12 persons, 12 people. Okay. The representatives of each state in the Council of States shall be elected by the elected members of the Legislative Assembly of the state in accordance with system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Now you don't go deep into this much, at least not at a CSEET level. Okay, so they have given one single transferable vote. Okay, then that process is also very complicated, but that is not written in your syllabus completely. So don't go deep into it. The representatives of the union territories in the Council of States shall be chosen in such a manner as Parliament may by law, because all union territories does not have the Legislative Assembly. Only Delhi and Pondicherry are the 2 union territories which are and Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, only 3 union territories right now have a Legislative Council. But what about Ladakh? What about Chandigarh? Right? What about Lakshadweep? What about Andaman Nicobar? These are what about Daman and Diu and Union Territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli? These union territories does not have a legislative assembly. Okay, so the MLAs or MPs of Rajya Sabha has been chosen from that union territories according to the law prescribed by the Parliament. Very clear. Now Lok Sabha, House of the People. Lok Sabha is composed of representatives of people chosen by direct election on the basis of adult suffrage. Okay, so for Lok Sabha there is a direct election. Yes, we choose the members of Lok Sabha, and we have the system of adult suffrage, universal adult suffrage. So any person who is above 18 years of age can go and vote. That is called universal adult suffrage. Okay. The maximum strength of the House envisaged by the Constitution is 552, which is made up by election up to 530 members to represent the states, up to 20 members to represent the union territories, and not more than 2 members of Anglo-Indian community to be nominated by the Honorable President, if in his or her opinion that community is not adequately represented in the. Now this provision of 2 members is removed. Okay, so there are, but for your syllabus purpose, yes, 552 members are there. The total elective membership is distributed among the states in such a way that the ratio between the number of seats allotted to each state and the population of the state is, so far as practicable, the same for all states. So more populous states, they have given more seats. For less populous states, they have given lesser seats. Okay, so in case of Maharashtra, you will see that there are 48 MPs which Maharashtra chooses in the parliament, because Maharashtra is more populous. On the contrary, if you see Goa, there are only 2 seats of MPs or 2 seats of Lok Sabha in Goa. Why? Because Goa is less populous. Okay, so Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, West Bengal, they are highly densely populated states. So they have more seats in the parliament. Highest seats are Uttar Pradesh. Second highest is Maharashtra. Okay. Bengal also have enough seats in parliament. Okay, so these are all the seats. Yes, depends on population. Council of Ministers. There shall be a Council of Ministers with Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President, who shall, in the exercise of his function, act in accordance with such advice.